shown in the fact that they only got 6 shots. But not a good way to end the first period, allowing New Jersey to start the second on a 5-on-3. Not much you can do. Henry had the hook, and then you had Montour who clipped him with a high stick. So they were both penalties that you have to call, but you're allowing New Jersey to get back in the game by giving them, I think it was a minute 26 of a 5-on-3 to start the second. So they're coming out rested, trying to turn the tide from a bad first period. Luckily, it doesn't end up hurting them, but that's not a great way to finish the first period.
No, and it's something the coaching staff had addressed after last game, giving up 5 penalties, or 5 power plays, rather, to the Detroit Red Wings. Luckily, the Red Wings weren't able to convert on those. And then you're looking at it here, and you're like, come on, guys, you got to stay out of the box. This is something you can't be doing, especially at the end of a period. You don't want to give a team fresh ice. But then we all got the bad news. To start the second period, no Manson to start. He was not on the bench. They said he was being evaluated, and they would update further later. And I felt like I kept looking up Josh Manson on Twitter over and over and over again. And we wouldn't hear until the third period that he would not return. And I think I kind of want to talk a little bit about his injury right now, not how it affects the lineup necessarily. We can get to that after we go through the game. But I wanted to kind of see if you felt like you saw where he got hurt, because the only thing I saw where he may have been injured was when he went into the boards with Sami Vatanen. Other than that, I couldn't really tell where else he would have gotten hurt.
I didn't see anything. Gordon was asking us, Gordon Bombay in the chat was asking us what exactly happened to Manson, because he didn't see it either. I think most people felt the exact same way on Twitter, where I didn't even really know he was out until they said he was out. I wasn't really noticing him in the game or not, and obviously he left. He only played 5 minutes before he ended up leaving. So, yeah, I didn't see it. I would guess it'd be in that play. It's still vague. Yeah?
Sorry to cut you off. You know what? There was a play where he jumped up into the offensive zone to retrieve a puck.
Yeah.
And was hit pretty hard, and it spun him around, and he went backwards into the boards. Into the double zone. Do you remember that play?
It was lower body, right? Like it was...
Upper body.
Upper body. Okay, no, I didn't remember that play, but... Yeah, it wasn't anything noticeable. That's the thing, too. Like, normally, Fowler in the last game, he got crunched by Witkowski. We saw that. We knew that's where he got hurt. Went to the bench. Obviously was fine. It's kind of worrying, and it adds, an air of mystery to the fact that we don't really know where he got hurt. Yet they felt it was enough to leave him out of the game, and maybe it was precautionary. I mean, the Ducks were rolling at the time up 2-0, but usually, so early, if he could come back, you'd expect him to be back in the game.
I want to say, I wish I had written down when he'd gotten hit. I mean, had I known, I would have rewound and figured it out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go back and check out that play after the show and see if he had played any shifts after that, because the way I remember him going backwards into the boards, it was a hard hit. And he was trying to retrieve the puck and got turned around, and maybe he hit his head, and that's always something. And we're just speculating. At least I'm just speculating. I don't know what's wrong with him. I hope it's nothing serious. But when you say upper body injury,
yeah,
I mean, that's the first thing that pops in my mind. He's not coming back out. He didn't look like he hit his shoulder, so hopefully he just, bumped his head pretty good, and they were nervous about putting him back out, and it's nothing serious. I mean, the Ducks really can't afford to lose a defenseman. But, I mean, honestly, we wish the best for Manson. We don't, he doesn't need a concussion either. It's not like we're putting health over the Ducks, but it's just not a good situation either way you look at this.
No, and the upper body injury thing is always scary when you don't really know what play you got hurt on, because it could be a concussion, and you never know how long he's going to be out. And this team, without Josh Manson, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's not like that he's contributing enough that the Ducks can't win without him, but he's definitely a very strong piece of the Ducks blue line, and when you look at who would be most likely to replace him, it'd be Korbinian and Holzer at this point, and that's a scary proposition when you look at how many games the Ducks have remaining and how big the schedule is coming up when you've got Winnipeg, Calgary, LA, Dallas, Colorado, and if Manson can't play any of those games, you've got Holzer, who has to come in and play some significant minutes. You've got Pettersson, who has to up his minutes. You've got Boschman, who has to play on a nightly basis now and up his minutes as well. It's nerve-wracking, I think, for a lot of people. I think that's where everybody's really sitting now. It's just waiting for Eric Stevens or for the Ducks to make an announcement, whether it be tonight or tomorrow.
We're definitely going to have to find out what's going on. I'm sure they'll let us know. We'll never know the true extent until maybe later, if at all. But hopefully it's shorter, and hopefully he's healthy and everything's good. We'll talk more about that at the end of this. But we got to get moving on here. And the best news to follow that up is the Ducks survived the 5-on-3 and the 5-on-4 and then started buzzing. I just felt like the Ducks started taking over the game throughout this second period. Puck possession-wise, I felt like the Ducks were not giving a lot over to the New Jersey Devils, who were trying to press back. Grabner with kind of a big chance on a mini, I called it a mini 2-on-1 because he was already in the Ducks zone quite a bit. Gibby had to make a good save there on Grabner. And then another weird injury happened. Did you see Miles Wood get hurt by Boschman?
No, I didn't even see that one either.
They showed the replay on the feed. I'm not sure what feed you were watching, but Boschman was skating through the neutral zone with, I think it was Miles Wood, and he had his arm out, and it looks like Boschman collided with his elbow. It looked maybe like a hyperextension. I mean, there was gloves on the ice. He went straight to the bench, didn't even pick up any of his equipment there. So hopefully he's okay. I mean, that's not a fun injury either, but I didn't know if you had seen that. Moving on, the Ducks take what we call the lazy penalty. Too many men on the ice, of course. Devils with a power play. And then all of that good talk about how well the penalty kill's been doing and how much the Ducks been working on it all goes for naught, as why not have a former Anaheim Duck player score a goal? Zajac to Palmieri, 2-1. Now, Devils get on the board.
Yeah, and that was the trend of the night for the Devils, where you had former Ducks hurting the Ducks on both goals. Credit to Palmieri for getting in good space there. Gibson actually does a great job, and I think he gets a stick on it and almost keeps it out, and it just kind of grinds its way into the net for Palmieri. And that was really a dagger against the flow of play at that point. The Ducks were controlling the game, like you'd said. They survived those two-man advantage and another power play leading up until this one, but you can't keep giving them chances. I mean, the Devils have guys who can hurt you in Hall, Zajac, and Palmieri. You got Vatanen as well on the power play. So, yeah, I mean, you can't give them this many opportunities, and especially with how well the Ducks were doing at 5-on-5, you knew if the Devils were going to score, it was going to come on the power play.
Yeah, and, the Ducks, one of their main strengths has been the penalty kill, so they were hoping that it would go head-to-head and the Ducks would overcome. This would be the one time it doesn't. Pretty much Ducks go right back over and take over the game, though. I mean, they get a power play. Vatanen gets called for the hook on Raquel. Ducks really start buzzing again. Perry with several chances, as well as Raquel. They're unable to convert, but they go on and finish out the second period up 2-1, and the shots were 7-7. Ducks overall leading 24-13 in the shot department. Overall, that was a good second period.
And a good thing to see, too, is after the Palmieri goal, they continued to carry the play, and they continued to start getting back to what had been so successful up until this point. I mean, it's not like they just laid off. They were disappointed in the fact that it's now 2-1, and what we've seen so often from the Ducks is they're just going to sit on the lead and get caved in the third period. And right after that goal, they just picked up where they left off, which I think is so refreshing to see, because we really haven't seen that from them in a while.
It has been a long time since we've had a dominant game all the way through. There wasn't like an uptick in the opposition shot advantage or chance advantage. Going into this third period, that's when they announced Josh Manson was out with an upper body injury. But right away, you get Raquel stretch past the Perry on a break. Kincaid with another low blocker save. Very close. Really got the feeling about Perry. He's just got all of the gears going for him. He loves these nasty games. He loves the playoff type feel. I mean, he gets into it later here in the period with a couple of Devils players, Pat Maroon being one of them. Even though Perry didn't get a goal tonight, I really, really liked his game today. And hopefully, as we said about Silverberg, this is more to come from him.
Yeah, he's really been getting into that pest role a little bit more and just kind of getting into games. And I feel like it's because these games are starting to feel more like playoff hockey. And we saw that last year where he'd struggled throughout the regular season, and then come playoff time, he just turned into a completely different player. And was one of the Ducks' best players. So I'm hoping that he's going to be that type of guy again this year in the stretch and into the playoffs if the Ducks can make it, because it's going to be so important that he becomes a pivotal piece of this offense, especially if he's going to be playing up there with Raquel and Getzlaff. He can't just be a passenger. He's going to have to be a guy that makes a difference and gets on the score sheet.
Do you feel like he's been rope-a-doping? Like for the whole season, just kind of like laying low, then slowly starting to get the engine moving, and now he's hitting top gear, heading into the playoff run. I mean, I'm sure he would tell you no. I'm sure everybody thinks I'm crazy for saying that, but you kind of get the feeling, like with Corey Perry, that he just loves this type of hockey. He kind of sits around. and saves all his energy for the final rounds.
Yeah, I guess. And, I mean, he's been one of the guys that's been relatively healthy all season for the Ducks as well, so he's been in the bad and he's been in the good. So I think things are just starting to feel better. I think the fact that the Ducks are winning, he's sitting pretty on that top line with Getzlaf and Raquel, so he's finally feeling like things are going in the right direction, and that the style of hockey is what suits him better. These close games, these games that matter, the playoff type atmosphere. I think that's why we're kind of seeing him a little bit more than we have earlier on, and hopefully it continues because they're going to need it.
As we move on from that play, John Moore, the Devils absolutely bury Silverberg in the corner. Ducks would get another power play. That's the physicality going up there. That was almost, I wouldn't say dangerous, but that could have been dangerous. Just the way Silverberg was like a good 3-4 feet away from the boards. Luckily, he's unharmed. And this is where we talk about another Anaheim Ducks goal. Who else? Ricard Raquel to Getzlaf with the no-look pass to Montour, streaking him from the point. What a pass by Getzlaf. It's 3-1 Anaheim.
I want to counter on how many times, at least in the game and on the postgame show, that we say, what a pass from Ryan Getzlaf, whether it leads to a goal or it leads to a chance. I feel like it's at least once or twice a game because he pulls these off on a nightly basis. No look pass. He's not even looking at Montour. Knows he's there, throws it across. All Montour has to do is just bury it into the open net. And now Montour now has 3 goals in his last 3 games, so things are starting to look upward for him too.
Cha-ching, 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 off season. That's all that is.
Yep.
Bob Murray's sitting there feeling his wallet get a little lighter every single game that Montour plays like this. What a game for Montour and Fowler as well. They had dominant games. Getzlaf with that no-looker. He's now got 2 points on the night. Just feeling it. This Ducks team was really feeling it tonight. And just as we all got excited, and the woos start coming around in Anaheim as they do when the Ducks get a lead and the crowd's feeling good and Ric Flair has to pop up in someone's mind, the Devils go ahead and get a goal. And not just any Devil, but former Anaheim Duck Pat Maroon, who was rumored to come to Anaheim at the trade deadline, and Sammy Vatanen, who was traded for Adam Henrique, as none of us would ever forget, creates the perfect pass for Maroon for an easy tap-in goal, and now it's 3-2.
Yeah, and there's so many former Ducks on this Devils team that it seems like they're always going to be involved in at least one of their goals. Because you got guys, not just guys like Nason and some lower down guys. You got Vatanen, you've got Maroon, you've got Palmieri, guys that were at one point top 4, top 6 for the Ducks, now sitting littered throughout the Devils team, victimizing the Ducks. And this one obviously doesn't end up hurting them, but you got Palmieri getting the first goal, you got Maroon getting the second goal from Vatanen. It's a little bit of a deja vu. You kind of expect these guys to be on the other end of a goal for the Ducks, and seeing them score for the Devils is a little bit weird, to say the least.
It's weird, but it, like you said, it's got to be expected with 5 guys in the lineup.
Yeah.
But after this goal, the Ducks would come right back. They would start controlling the neutral zone, and it was really nice to see Marcus Pettersson get a highlight reel play here as he absolutely decks Coleman through the body at center ice, clean check, and that would be a sign of things to come. Ducks continuing to carry the play here. Ricard Raquel with the deflection, basically almost as good as Jakob Silverberg's on a Fowler point shot. Chaos ensues after the goal goes in. I don't know if you saw, but Pat Maroon absolutely buries Corey Perry on the ice. Perry was slow to get up, full-on cross-check in the back, moments before the goal, and then Getzlaf and Maroon get into it. What a play. This is the kind of stuff we've been talking about. Another great deflection and then chaos, and we're hoping for a fight that didn't happen, but still, this is my favorite hockey.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the type of hockey that the Ducks love, too. This is the type of hockey that they live for, where it's one of those games where it's just gritty, it's on the edge, guys just hate each other. And, I mean, you saw it throughout the game, but you saw it really kind of boil over at this point. Obviously, no fight, but with Maroon taking down Perry. And then I believe at one point, too, I don't know if it was Maroon, but one of the Devils players gives him a nice little butt end as well. And Getzlaf wasn't having any of that. Got separated with Maroon. I would have loved to see a Getzlaf and Pat Maroon fight. I think a lot of people would have. Yeah, that would have been
Big Rig is a big boy.
Yeah, but when
let's not joke
Getzlaf's
about
a
that
big man, and when he's angry, I don't know if he's not much of a fighter, but I wouldn't want to get in Getzlaf's way when he's pissed off. I mean, he went after Chara when he was angry.